But the person that you're super excited to talk to, and we're going to talk to as of in about 15 seconds. Do you want to do a bit of an intro, Angus, because he's right up your alley?
Yeah, look, this just goes to show the Waka 100 brings riders from home here in New Zealand, and our guest is a New Zealander, but from all sorts of avenues around the world. Tonight, we're just stoked to have Brendon Hartley on, who ex-Formula One driver. He is one of the world's best LeMans hypercar endurance driver, drives in the WEC World Endurance Championship, driving one of the new hypercars. It's a new formula this year for Toyota, for the factory Toyota team, and he is actually currently sitting leading the championship, to be fair. So
there's no Googling going on with this. Angus knows his motorsport, loves it.
I am, and I'm fanboying in here just a little bit. So let's just bring Brendon in here because, hey, Brendon, welcome to the show, mate.
Cheers. You made me blush a bit. You probably oversold my importance with all the two-wheel enthusiasts listening in, but yeah, no, cheers.
No, good stuff. Household name. Was it 2018? You were driving F1, and that's a pretty amazing feat in itself, just to get a seat and have a season there. So it's pretty awesome and great to be able to have you on the show and talk. Obviously, I guess your background, your riding, but I guess it's really around performance as well, and keen to kind of get a bit of a handle on how you perform and look to perform, I guess, race after race, season after season, and make sure that you are improving and putting it all down.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how much we're going to chat about bikes or racing, but I guess there's a bit of
I've got all night, just FYI.
Yeah, so motorsport's a bit different from endurance sports like mountain biking or cycling, where it's probably 80% mental, 20% physical. So the years of experience that I've gained since I started racing at 6 years old, that's really what counts. But there is still that 20%. I'm just throwing a random number out there. That's physical. So a big part of my preparation for racing is keeping fit. And over the years, I found that what keeps me performing best is actually doing stuff I enjoy. So I love riding bikes. Over in Europe, I do a lot of road cycling just because where I live in the south of France, you can get out the door and you're up in the mountains, and the mountain biking is not quite as fun as in the redwoods or around New Zealand. So when I come home to New Zealand, you'll see me most days on my mountain bike. I just love it, and it keeps me fit, and it also keeps me sharp, and it makes me happy, which ultimately makes me faster. That's how I look at it. I think every driver is different. Some drivers will do zero training at all and somehow get by. You do have to be fit, but as I say, that kind of experience and I guess mental well-being, keeping sharp is that counts more for us than I would say some other sports.
How often do you get home?
It depends year to year. So I would have loved to have done the Waka 100 before, but it doesn't normally work out schedule-wise. So I normally come home for Christmas. This year, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it, just again because of some commitments. December and January. And we've got a little daughter now as well. She's turning 2 in a couple of months. So we're trying to get home a bit more regularly. Now we built a holiday home in Taupo, also for her to see our family that live here. And we had a little window now to get home, 5-6 weeks, and we took the opportunity. But it depends. I would say I try to get home at minimum once per year, but if I can get home twice, I try and take the opportunity. Still, nice. New Zealand's still home. I've been away more than half my life, which sounds weird, and I often get asked where I'm from walking around New Zealand, which also feels weird. I've obviously lost a bit of my accent, but New Zealand still feels like home for me.
Yeah, so good. Great to be able to have you as part of the event. So just Waka, which event are you doing? Is it the 25, the 50, the 100, the 100 miler? What are we lining up for?
Yeah, the 100. So actually, it's funny how it came about. So Tim, who you're going to chat to later, was at the Hooker Challenge. I don't know what time it was. Is it November, December last year? We were back here at that time, and both Sarah and I, my wife, we signed up the day before, and Sarah ended up riding with Tim for a fair chunk of it, and he mentioned how he was the director of the Waka, and he said he'd love to get us over, and weirdly the timing worked out. So that's kind of how it all came about. I think you can ask him later how he went against Sarah, my partner, but I was giving him some stick about it before the pre-show. But yeah, so
he's not backwards about coming forwards to talk about the Waka, right? He's super proud of this event, and anybody that'll listen, anybody that'll lend him an ear, he'll tell them about this great event.
No, but it's been on the list, and yeah, Sarah and I signed up for the 100-kilometer. I don't think Sarah knew the extent of the challenge when I put her name down at the same time as I put mine. We actually just got back from the Redwoods. We managed to get a babysitter for the afternoon, so it's Sarah's first time in the Redwoods since we've been home. So we tried to scope out all the grade 4s, and there's some spicy stuff in there, considering she doesn't ride the mountain bike too much. So yeah, we did a bit of a recce run, but yeah, it's a big challenge. I can't wait.
Did you show us the elbows?
Yeah, no, I've got no grazes yet.
Well done.
I had a little tumble the week I got back, but nothing major.
Have you ever had a mountain bike crash that stopped you from driving?
No, I had one. I broke a bone end of 2018. So actually, after that year in Formula One, I kind of knew I was not racing Formula One next year. I had probably a bit of a blowout. Was riding in the south of France on my big bike that I have there, which I don't often ride, and took some risks I probably didn't need to. And I just broke a metacarpal. But yeah, no, I generally know my limits and try and stay 2 wheels on the ground. I'm not a big jumper. I like to send it fast downhill, but I'm not hitting any big jumps or anything.
Any rules from Team Toyota? Do you have any rules about this sort of doing these sort of events and potential injuries and things? It's not frowned
This
upon,
isn't going live, right? Hopefully.
Well, sweet. No, you're fine.
Broadcasting globally here, mate.
I mean, look, they ask us to be sensible, but as I said before, I feel like for me, like riding bikes and training, and that's part of me being happy and being able to perform in the race car. So I think they put a lot of trust in us. We're all professional drivers. They pay us to do what we do, so that they expect that we take some precautions. And I try to take away risk in other parts of my life, but I do really love mountain biking, and I don't think I could give that up. Actually, I just love it.
It'd be a phone call you wouldn't want to make. I remember digressing with, as I will throughout this podcast, no doubt tonight. But when Shane Van Gisbergen had his crash, he was out riding his bike with Stephen Johnson and things, and crashed and broke his arm or a collarbone or whatever it was 2 years ago, whatever it was. And there was a great discussion there in the forest that who was going to ring Roland Dane and tell him who was going to break the news to him. So
I'm looking for some wood to touch.
Yeah, I feel like I'm partly responsible for this conversation. Sorry about that. Yeah, we best move on, I think. Yeah. I guess one thing with oops, we still live? Yep. So in terms of your racing and performing at the top level, Brendon, are there any similarities in terms of that mental preparation? You talked about it was 80% mental and 20% physical. So what are some of the crossovers around how you prepare for a high-end car race compared to a mountain bike event?
So, Brendon's just he might have come back.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm back now. Not sure what happened there.
Yep. Did you get my question? Or should I have another go?
No, sorry.
No. Okay, so car race, bike race. What are some similarities in terms of how you prepare to make sure mentally you're right on form so you can perform to your potential?
I don't know, because I haven't done many bike races, so it's probably not my area of expertise. Well, I've done a couple actually, but maybe not successfully.
What are some of the things that you do on the day of?
Oh, day of? I guess, the mental preparation's a big one. I do a bit of a warm-up before I jump in the car, a bit of skipping, a bit of airboxing. I listen to music, so it's about getting my head in the right space. And for me, I use quite heavy rock music to get kind of amped up, unless I'm feeling a bit too amped up, and I tend to listen to something a bit softer, but generally it's the other way around, particularly now that I'm getting older. I need to psych myself up more than I used to, I think. Normally a coffee before, that's probably more habit than anything. And then morning of it's a lot of meetings as well, so it's not so much physical prep, it's all the prep. We have meeting after meeting about all the different scenarios, strategies. I won't bore you with all that stuff, but it's probably quite different, I would imagine, to preparing for a bike race where it's more physical, I would say.
The mental space, though, I think this is where you'll come into your foray, because like if you're let's say we're at Le Mans Did I tell you he's a 3-time Le Mans winner, 24-hour winner? If you're double stinting or triple stinting, you're in the car for 3 hours or so. Like, let's put some context around there. What is it, 50-something degrees in the car? Cabin temperature?
It could get up to that temperature, but I would say it's more often than not closer to 40. 50 would be pretty extreme. That's borderlining a sauna.
40 degrees.
It could get to 50, but not often, honestly.
3 hours at 290 something kilometers an hour. Whatever you're doing. What are you doing down the long straight?
Down the Mulsanne straight.
Yeah.
We do 330 maximum. Okay. I'm just thinking again about that temperature. If it was more than 30 degrees ambient, then yeah, it could get close to 40. But generally speaking, it's a bit cooler than that. I don't want to oversell, but it is physical. But particularly Le Mans is not the most physical track because we have these long straight lines I mean, I'm not working very hard when I'm doing 320 kilometers per hour. I've just got my foot flat out. The tough thing is obviously we have a huge amount of G on the body. So when I hit the brake pedal, I guess we're putting more than 4 Gs every corner. And it's that level of focus and holding that for the entire 24-hour race. And so just to explain what 4G is, and in Formula One it was more like 5. So
that's what you ring
5 times your body. Yeah, exactly, exactly. But it's like 5 times your body weight pressed against your body. So if you consider your neck weighs your head weighs about 5 kilos, that's like putting a 25 kg weight on the side of your head every time you turn the wheel. So and a lot of that preparing for that is actually driving. It's very hard to simulate the exact muscles you use in a race car, but you can obviously do your best to be prepared as possible. But a lot of it is actually just track time and being used to it, and also being relaxed in the car. That's another thing I should say is if you're a stressed driver and you maybe don't have as much experience as the next guy, you'll burn more energy. And it's probably the same on a bike going downhill. You can go down there tense and stiff and using all your energy, or you can be relaxed and get that flow and use probably half the energy. And it's probably the same thing in the race car. If you've got that flow state and you're confident with what you're doing, you tend to be able to relax a bit more.
So perfect, because that's where I was going with this. So you're 3 hours into a stint, or let's say you're 6 hours into the 100K walker. You're going to have that same mental focus, that same challenge to stay mentally focused, to stay looking up, looking ahead, and that trying to be relaxed on the bike, as we all know, is the key to trying to reduce fatigue and obviously flow over all those things. So actually some really good quite similarities there that you'll be able to take from the car to the bike.
And if you crash,
I'm more confident in the car. I'm more confident on 4 wheels, so I'm probably a bit stiff going down some of the scents. But no, you're right. Actually, it's worth and also fueling. Right. I mean, in the race, I also get a bit of I get some sugar at the pit stops if I need it. So quite often have like apple juice, like apple puree, baby food. But yeah, obviously the waka is going to be fueling. I haven't figured that out yet, but fueling and hydrating is a big one. It's the same as us in the race car. We have a drink bottle in the car that we can hydrate with.
I hate to say this, but probably crashing at 250 kilometers an hour in his hypercar is actually going to be a softer landing than crashing at the waka.
Can we stop talking about that? I need I've got some wood behind me. I'm like, I'm not that superstitious, but yeah, let's not chat.
Let's just make sure. We don't want to do anything we don't need to do. That's right. Nice work. And how do you deal with the hype? Race organizers like Tim Farmer love a bit of hype. There's some loud music at the start line. Sometimes we have to keep ourselves a bit calm. Have you got any tips around sort of actually just managing those nerves on the start line? Because you must still get nervous in a really important race.
Yeah, I do. I'll probably get more nervous on the start of the waka than some of the races because I'm out of my comfort zone. But I think I've done 4 mountain bike events in my life, and I've pretty much made the same mistake on all of them by going out too hard. As you say, there's all the music, everyone's hyped up. Always start too hard, but that's what's part of the it's part of the fun, isn't it? But yeah, you're right. Keeping calm and keeping those nerves in check is important. But I think a lot of that comes with experience. So it's hard to give someone just an easy piece of advice that makes all those nerves go away. I don't think that's the case. I think experience counts for a lot in that case.
It's kind of opposite though, isn't it? Because when you're sitting in the car, like you're fired up, you've just had your coffee, you've been playing your loud music, and let's just bring it on because you've got to hit the floor as fast as you possibly can to be off the start line. So it's kind of like, and whereas Waka, you kind of like, let's just manage our intensity for the first sort of half an hour or so. Whereas
there's no managing intensity. Even in LeMans, which is a 24-hour race, you'd think, oh, you're managing, but you're really not. It's they call it a 24-hour sprint now because the cars are made to hammer the curbs and push the car to its absolute limits for 24 hours. So it's an endurance race, but it's a sprint in a way that that's why I need to be fired up the moment I leave the pit lane.
I can see why
I probably need to be calm on the start line because
I can see if you
really
want to come and watch Brendon, watch him for the first half hour. I think he's got to be all in.
No,
I was just thinking
I won't be.
We might need to check his bike because we might need to check his bike because this new hypercar class is actually it's electric now, isn't it? You've got in those things they're hybrid things.
Hybrid
so we might need to check his bicycle to make sure that there's not a hybrid system going on there. Eh?
No, don't worry. You can ask him to check. I'd be happy for him to check everyone, but good luck with that. Yeah, I'll be listening now. I've been riding with a few buddies in the Redwoods the last week, so we've been on e-bikes and a bloody noisy thing. So I think you'd struggle to hide it.
That's right. Yeah. Well, I guess it's making sure you actually keep upright as well. You can ride a fast bike, but can you keep it upright going down those hills?
What about monitoring your heart rate? Is that something that you do? What actually talk me through this, to be fair.
In the race car or
let's talk about both, because let's talk about Spa and through Radion this year. You had a big lose. Were you on lap 2? Did you just come out of the pits or something because you're not allowed tyre warmers now or something? So
I had a wee crash in qualifying. So I wouldn't say it was a big one, but no, so
heart rate spike when that happens, or does it all just happen around you?
I have monitored heart rate before in a race car. Again, it comes back to, a lot of the time the heart rate, temperature, when the heat's going up, your body temp's going up, the heart rate keeps going up. That's the basic one. You've got a lot of adrenaline. And I'd say that the highest heart rate I would probably see is on a qualifying lap. So that's when. So this year I've done every single qualifying. I think I did last year as well. I've been, let's say, our team's qualifier.
Yep.
That's where I find I have the biggest amount of adrenaline. Heart rate is through the roof. You kind of forget to breathe because the intensity is so high. Where in the race, when you're settling in for a couple of hours, you're pushing as hard, but it's not all on the line for one lap. It's not that you only have one opportunity. So I find qualifying is always the time of the weekend when my heart rate's highest. And it's not the physical element; it's the stress from everything else, and the adrenaline pumping. Which there will be some in the Waka as well, going down some of this descent that I saw today.
I tell you where it might spike, mate, and it wouldn't be a Waka podcast if we didn't go here. So those that are listening as a podcast, we're rolling out the old photo of old mate here, Agria. If you get this creek crossing wrong, Brendon, this is where your heart rate's going to spike, mate. It's going to go through the roof.
And how far is that from the finish? A couple of 100 meters or something, is it?
Yeah, just close enough to have everybody watching you.
That's right. It's a great thing to do on a hot day, I tell you. Make sure you just cool yourself off, get your hair looking nice and fresh, get rid of that dust. I would highly recommend it.
I might do a little recce of that so I don't end up with the same photo.
Probably not a bad
thing.
Will you be, Richard, when you get there? What day are you getting there?
Getting there Friday.
Friday, righto. So is it build the bike and go and have a look?
Yeah, I think I've had enough practice on that jump. I'm just going to just full send. We'll see.
We'll ask Tim later what condition it's in, whether it's changed. Whether
if they've dug the hole out a little bit deeper, etc. There's different things that go on.
Can we go around it? Can we go around it?
I think the moment was actually me trying to go around it. Like that was what happened when you try to go around it. Better just to give it.
What he claims is we were actually doing it as a team, Brendon, that year, and what he claims is that he was looking back to see where I was. And that's what he claims. Yeah, it's cute. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. I had to look quite a long way. That's why I was coming off.
Yeah.
What about, mate? Maybe I should ask a question because I only just signed up the other day finally, and I put down like what's a realistic time for someone like myself? Because I've put down, what should I be doing?
Anything more than 6, mate. Anything more than 6, you might as well not. Jokes.
No, that's right. I think it was a bit of a around about 7, 8, something like that. 8 is a pretty solid time.
Okay.
You're doing pretty well there.
So maybe I've been very ambitious with my start. So I put 6.5 hours, but probably over ambitious. And
well, and that's
let's
okay.
see.
I guess the key thing there is you just start and ride your own race and sort of see how it all unfolds, really. But yeah, I mean, I haven't ridden with you.
What's the winner's time? Less than 5 hours, right?
Are we less than 5 hours? It'd be around 5, like high 4s.
Tim, you're on live, mate. What's the winner's time?
Yeah, mate. Hey, I think Ben Oliver might have gone sub 5 last year, but we had all-time conditions. So I reckon Brendon's probably, I see if he can beat my time of 6 hours 26, but just throwing it out
Okay, that's the target then. All right.
Let's not talk about Sarah at the hooker.
Good chat, Tim. We'll come back to you.
Yep,
that's it. He's gone.
That's good.
All right. So 6 hours 26 is the official target.
Yeah,
right.
that's it. But I think what's happened there is that is very quick. I think Tim will probably add another sort of 6 or 7 Ks onto the end of it. So especially for you, Brendon. So compared to what it was when he did it. Yeah. So what are you most looking forward to by turning up to the start line?
I love the challenge, honestly. For the past, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, maybe more, I've tried to put a challenge in the calendar, just one challenge like this in the calendar if I could manage. And it's, it gives you something to look forward to, something to train for. I love the atmosphere at the start line, the trails. I mean, I haven't ridden everywhere in the world, but I think and the Redwoods are probably what's my favorite place to ride in the world. So the fact that we can spend a whole day, well, hopefully not a whole day, but hopefully less than 6.5 hours, which is probably unrealistic. But yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult. I'm looking forward to the whole lot, everything, and then hopefully standing with my daughter Paige and cheering on Sarah when she crosses the line. Well, maybe she crosses before me. I don't know, but
yeah, I was just going to say that was pretty
quick as well.
Yeah,
assumptuous to think I'm going to cross first, but yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? This is not your world, so you can just go and have a good time. Just go and ride your bike.
Yeah.
You don't have to win. There's nothing like that. It's just go and soak up those vibes, give some high fives out, just enjoy the experience.
Yeah, and there's no pressure, but don't get me wrong. I still want to do the best that I can. That's the point of entering these events. It's not just to have a good day and give out high fives. I don't know if there might be some after, but yeah, I still wanted to give it my absolute all, and I love that challenge and challenge. It'll be interesting because I did in 2018. I did the Leadville 100. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah. Excellent.
So
you get a belt buckle.
I got the small belt buckle by 45 seconds. So yeah, the people that know,
well done.
Yeah, so I did 9 hours and 45 seconds. I think I was the first one to cross the line above 9 hours, which was brutal because my goal was 9. But a bit like what you just said with Tim, they added it was 103 miles. So I was kind of tracking it like, I'm going to do it, and then there was another 3 miles that I didn't account for. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that's the biggest challenge I've done. I actually did it with Mark Webber, who you mentioned before we started the podcast. So yeah, that was probably the biggest challenge I've done. I'm curious to see how the Waka 100 stacks up. Definitely more technical, and it's a difficult 100Ks from what I can see. But yeah, I can't wait actually. Yeah. I think your question was, what am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the whole lot, everything.
The whole lot. Brilliant. Nice work. Hey, Brendon, thank you so much for...
Before we go, let's not go anywhere. I haven't had my time here. You just sit down over there. Sorry. Hey, mate, look, I just do want to know, just really quickly, because we don't get this opportunity very often, but it's been an exciting year in WEC this year in the World Endurance Championship. The Ferraris have been super quick. That's been a really interesting thing to see them come on, obviously with Porsche coming on and Penske coming on. You are one race away from taking the championship out, correct?
We're leading. Definitely, it's not a given that we're going to win it, but yeah, we're leading the championship.
And maybe this year's been sort of more challenging than previous years. That as I say, those Ferraris have been quick. Next year, though, let's just quickly talk about how exciting next year is. Obviously, with a bit of change there, LMP2 heading over to IMSA and the expansion of WEC going on there. What have you got? You've got BMW, Alpine, and Aston Martin coming in. Is it Aston Martin? Who's the third? There's 3 more coming in.
He's got to be reading this off Google, surely. He's not that much of a fan.
Could you assign his top, please?
Yeah. Well, you've answered all the questions now. Anyway, you've listed all the bloody competition. No, but it is an exciting time. So yeah, this year we had all the extra competition come along. As you say, Ferrari's been very quick, but there's Porsche, there's Cadillac, Peugeot, and then next year BMW, Lamborghini, Aston Martin have just announced for 2025. So yeah, it's a huge amount of manufacturers involved and also customer teams as well. So yeah, it went from us almost racing ourselves. There was a bit of a holding pattern where the WEC prospered. They had a bit of a golden era. They had a dip. There's been a change in regulations, and now, yeah, it's flying again. And there's big competition. Some of the fastest drivers in the world there, and yeah, the future looks bright for the series.
A lot of F1 drivers and things coming.
And Toyota. I didn't mention Toyota. I race for Toyota, so there's another manufacturer as well. Yeah,
absolutely. And you guys have been stewards of the thing for a long time. Something I can't get my head around, and we'll finish in a second, but is this Peugeot without a rear wing on this thing? So what's it got? Has it got some sort of fancy underbody diffuser or something going on there? It's the weirdest looking thing ever.
And look, I think it looks pretty cool, but I don't want to bore you with too many details. But basically, the new rules, which got rid of a lot of the budgets, they got crazy at one point. I think some of the teams were spending up to a couple $100 million a year. So they had to do something, and the idea is that every car has the same downforce, the same power, the same weight, and then there's a little bit of balanced performance. So they built a car which looks quite futuristic, and all the downforce is from under the car, so the diffuser. So it has a massive diffuser underneath, so they get the downforce to get up to. But I have heard they're building a new car with a rear wing next year. So let's see. So that's probably too much info anyway. But
for some
rules in racing are complicated. It's a bit more simple than mountain biking. You got two wheels, and that's all. That's probably the only regulation there is, surely.
I do just want to bring that because you are quite proud of this. So talk us through this. For those that are listening as a podcast, I'm just going to throw a photo up here. But Brendon, talk about your new ride. Tell us about this, mate. You sent us a photo of this. What have you got here, mate?
That's my new toy. The fellas at Top Gear Cycles just sorted me out. Well, I say they sorted me out. I just blew the whole year's bonuses on that bloody thing. But no, I love it. Yeah, that's what I was riding on the Redwoods today. It's the new bike.
How good.
That I got a couple of weeks ago. So that's my little toy. That's my little passion that I've been thinking about that bike for a while. So
and you get as excited at new bike day as we all do too, then, eh?
Very, honestly. But I'm doing the race on a top fuel, which I'm trying to get some weight off because it's way too heavy at the moment. So it's going into the shop tomorrow to a bit of weight reduction, hopefully.
Yep. Nice,
Very
awesome.
Good.
Hey, really appreciate your time, Brendon. Thanks for putting up with Angus. He will be scoping out. I think he's got your number now, so apologise for that. But all the best. And go and enjoy soaking up the fantastic Waka vibe, and go and give it heaps over that creek jump.
Yeah, cheers, fellas.
Well done.
See you in Rotorua, mate.